Afternoon, Baptist Crittenden providers. We are excited to announce the launch of our new scheduling platform across all of the LifeLink facilities. And so I just want to give you guys an opportunity to take a look at the system. You should have received already an email directly from MyStaffSchedule with your username and password information to log into the system. If you did not receive that, please reach out to me directly and I can make sure that the email address we have for you is correct and there wasn't anything wrong with the information we had in our system. So you can email me at blee@lifelink.com or you can text or call me at 901-207-2014. But you should have received that. That information allows you to log into the platform on a browser at MyStaffSchedule.com, or it also allows you to download the mobile app and log into the mobile app as well. So I am going to share my screen and show you guys around. So when you have your username and password and you've logged into the system through a browser, you will have this view. And so it just gives you this current week and what is scheduled. And as you know, Baptist Crittenden is not a full-time facility. We only staff an anesthesia provider there probably 8 or 9 times a month. So I'll take you through the platform and kind of show you what your view will be and what permissions you will have to do in the system. So when you log in, it will probably default to the schedule, which is here, but we'll start over here actually in the far left-hand corner. So you can see it says Baptist Crittenden here. If you are a provider that is credentialed at more than one facility, you should have a drop down here, and it's going to show you all the facilities that you've been added to if you are credentialed at other places. Mine has quite a few just because this is my test account, but yours should have all the facilities that you're credentialed at if we have rolled out at that site already. If not, it's coming, and we do have plans to roll out all facilities before mid-December and have everything running and going mid-December to the first of the year. So if you have any questions about that or you think you should be seeing something on that drop-down bar that you don't see, please reach out to me and let me know. The next tab here is the dashboard. You may not use this very often. For those that are credentialed at multiple facilities, you may. This top section here is probably what you would even look at the most. It's going to tell you, the facility name here and what's available this week. So you've got a couple of shifts available on my test schedule here. So you may just be looking to pick up a shift here or there, and you want to see, is there anything this week that I can pick up? And that's what that's going to show there. And then you're going to have a list of facilities and what you're scheduled for the next 7 days. So that's this middle section. And then daily totals here is just going to give you how many providers are scheduled at each of the facilities where you are credentialed. So you'll be able to see that. We generate rules in the system to show, the max number that they'll need according to our contract with the facility. So that's what you'll see here. Then at the bottom, you'll see notices. So we'll go through how to do this, but you'll see any notices that have been put in on the facilities where you work for people who may have requested to swap a shift, or maybe they've requested to work. You'll see different types of notices that will pop up at the bottom there if they haven't made them private. If they've made them private, not everyone's will show up. Okay, so that is the dashboard. And then moving on to the schedule tab, this is where you're going to actually see the provider schedule. Again, Crittenden only has one provider when they are doing anesthesia. So for facilities where you may have multiple providers, you'll see obviously more than one shift available for that day. So this tells us that tomorrow on November the 4th, we have Andy Anderson working an 8-hour shift, and it's a GI day. So with Crittenden, they kind of split their time into, I think, GI, they do some podiatry. There's some days where you need block experience in order to work. So we identify that on the schedule, what type of day it is and what is needed to be able to work that shift. You'll also see some X's here, and sometimes in facilities like Crittenden, they will cancel days if they don't have any cases scheduled, or if something comes up as far as an emergency where we can't do anesthesia or do surgery cases, they will cancel those days. And so this just helps us at the corporate office keep track of what was canceled and that type of thing. So you'll see these X's here, and that's what that particular code means in the schedule. Okay. Next tab, you're going to see, oh, let me go back to this. So over to the right-hand side, these are just totals for the year. Now, keep in mind, these schedules are starting in the last quarter of the year. So once you start in 2026, this may be more beneficial to you if you ever wanted to know this. But as you can see for Andy here, it tells us that Andy's worked 3 8-hour shifts in 2025. And as you scroll through the different weeks of the year, as you get closer to the end of the year, it'll update that total according to what it is for that week year to date. So in the event that you ever wanted to know, it's listed there and you can find it easy. Andy was scheduled for one that was a canceled shift. That's probably this one right here. So I want to make sure everyone knows that's something that's available for you to look at. Okay, and then also, if you want to know what the codes mean that are in the system, you can click over here on the left-hand side. You see legend, codes, and options. So we've got codes here, and these are the only codes that are available for you to be scheduled for at Baptist Crittenden. Again, if you work at other facilities, you may see a much larger list that's got a lot more information in it, a lot of different types of shifts. But for this particular facility, it's very limited. So those are what the codes are in the short name, and then the description of what they mean over here to the right. So I'm going to close that out and then go over to options. In options, this is where we identify the type of cases that we're going to be doing for that day. So you can see we've got blocks, we've got general cases, GI, pediatrics, and then podiatry. So we'll tag those out beside the shift to let you guys know what's happening at the facility for that day. So if you needed to know what any of those things meant, you could click over here in the left-hand corner and pull up the codes or the options to see what they mean. Another thing that you can do on this screen is you can look at a 1-week view, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or a month. So I'm just going to pull up a month view here for the month of November. So this will give you a full picture of what we have scheduled for the month of November. You can look at this view, or you can click here where it says calendar view, and that gives you more of a traditional style calendar. So it'll tell us all providers working, what type of shift they're working, and it even identifies on here open shifts. So you can see on November the 17th, we have an open shift. It's available for anybody who wants to pick it up. You'll also notice on November 27th, which is Thanksgiving Day, everyone's listed as holiday. We do this just so there's no error in people thinking that, that's an available day for them to pick up a shift. So we go enter that holiday code on everyone that is in this particular group for this facility. I do want to say that nothing you put in MyStaffSchedule transitions back to Paycom. So you might see that holiday code, but you're not a full-time W-2 employee who gets holiday pay. So the pay doesn't transition back. So same with PTO. If you see the PTO code in MyStaffSchedule, it's not transitioning back to Paycom. It just shows us this provider's off this week and we don't need to ask them to work. So I want to make that clear. Now, there may be a time down the road when we have an integration between the two platforms, but as for now, we don't. So you don't have to worry about the pay codes matching up to exactly what Paycom says, or like I said, the PTO code or the holiday code affecting anything. Okay, so also on the month view here, I just want to point this out. This is something you can do. You can actually go in and run reports, or like if you didn't want to see everybody, for the month of November, maybe you just want to see yourself. So you could go in and select yourself. Let's see, I'm not even in here, but we'll select Andy Anderson, picking on her today. So you'll select your name, and you'll always want to click the set button or it won't take your changes. Okay, so you're going to click set, and then you go over here to the refresh button, and then it's just going to show us Andy's shifts along with anything that's open. So if you wanted to look at that for yourself, that is one way that you can do it. Okay. Let's see, if you wanted to look at, what are the days that we're doing general cases? You could go under this option here and click the general code. Remember to click set and then do the filter button. So it's going to show you every day that we have general cases happening. Dennis King, you see he's scheduled for 4 there. It looks like he took those off for November. But if you wanted to see that, you could do that filter there. Okay. And then the codes, this is just going to show you 8-hour CRNA or 8-hour MD and DO. So we have a couple of docs that are credentialed at this site as well as CRNAs. It's an either or situation. So we have it set up to where either a CRNA or a doc can take a shift at this location. And so really, you probably wouldn't be able to find much out by sorting with this because all shifts are open for both a CRNA or a doc. So I'm going to exit this screen here. Then we're back to the main page, and the next tab you're going to see is calendars. So if you click on this calendar, you can actually go in and sync your calendar to your phone, like if you have a Google Calendar or your Outlook or iCloud, whatever it is, you can sync it. And now it will, on this particular calendar sync, it will show you a lot of information. So you can see over to the right-hand side all of these colored buttons. So these are situations where the providers have put in requests to work, they've been approved, maybe they've requested a swap with someone. There's a lot of different things that may show up there. So that is what is going to show up on the calendar option when you use this view. Okay. All right, the next view or the next tab here is time. And I do want to just bring attention to this again. The timesheet feature is available to you, and we're trying to remove that because the timesheet doesn't equate to anything in Paycom. So you don't have to fill out any kind of time in here or clock in and out or anything like that. So you don't have to use that tab because your time is not going to go back to Paycom. Again, it may be something that we set up in the future, but for now, it's not an available option. Okay. All right. Let's see. The next tab is the card option. Now, this probably won't be used at Baptist Crittenden because there's only one provider daily. But for those of you who may be credentialed at other sites, we could certainly set those up for like staff assignments to specific rooms or specific surgeons or, whatever the case may be there. So again, at Baptist Crittenden, probably won't use that option, but is available in some of our larger facilities where we have multiple providers. Okay. Now, on the reports tab, you've got, let's see, it's giving me a validation report, which you probably won't use. If you'll just give me a moment, I need to change one thing here. I'm going to show you guys how you can go in and look at different shifts that may be available to you. And this one is not showing up correctly because my permissions are wrong. So let me refresh here. Okay, so now you have a couple other options at the top. Under reports, you can do an individual shift report. So this is kind of what I showed you guys on the main master schedule view. You can go in and look at how many of a certain type of shift you've worked for the year. So we'll just start on 11/3 today, and we'll go to December 3rd. Oops, it changed my start date. 11/3, and then we'll end at December 31st. So you should only have your name in the staff pull down bar. So when I run this report, it's going to tell me no data is available. So maybe I want to know how many 8-hour CRNA days I have worked in that time period. So you would select that code, click set, and then click get report. But you see here, it says no data found because I'm not scheduled for any shifts. But if you had been scheduled for shifts, then it would show you here, which shifts you were scheduled for and how many. So that's your reporting functionality there. And then my request, which didn't show up before, but had to change something in the background. So this is where you're going to go request. You can put different types of requests in here. So let's just say, you have 2 weeks off of your full-time job and you have those days available to fill in at Baptist Crittenden. So you would go into that create new request. Let me go back here under my request and then hit this new button that's green. Okay, and then you should see your name under the staff member, and you should only see your name there. So you'll make sure that's selected. And then let's just pick some dates here. So let's say you've got March the 2nd of 26 all the way to March the 27th. Let's just pick, majority of that month. And you are, let me change one more thing. You are going in and you want to just let Laura Weaver know, who does scheduling for this group, that you're available during that time to work if she needs you. Okay. Let's see. Let me add this real quick. So you would go into that button. You can see a couple of options there. So you've got cancel, you've got memo, you've got other, and you've got swap. So you could use those for a couple of things. Like if you needed to cancel, maybe you scheduled to work a ways out and you realize, oh, well, my spouse has planned a family vacation and I didn't know about it until now. So you could go in and tell it to cancel your shifts. Okay, so that's a situation where you would use cancel. So you could pick that. You could leave a note if there's any information we need to know about you canceling your shift. And then if you want to make that a private message, you could click that private button there and then click submit. If you don't care if others see that cancellation or any notes you might enter there, just leave it unchecked and hit submit. It's often helpful for the whole group to be able to see these things because maybe you're canceling your shift, but there's somebody else who is thinking, well, gosh, I can work this week. So, but it's up to you, whatever you feel comfortable with. So there's where you would use cancel. Memo, this is a situation, probably wouldn't use this much over at Baptist Crittenden, but maybe if you were at a full-time facility working regular hours and maybe there's like 2 hours you need to be gone for the day for an appointment or something, and you don't want to take the whole day, and you put in a note that says, hey, I've got to leave for a couple hours for an appointment or a kids school program or whatever, can somebody fill in? So you might use that for that situation. Other you can use for a variety of things, similar to the situation I just described. And then swap is if you're going to swap with somebody. So maybe you identify that there's another provider working on a particular day, and you guys have talked in the background, and y'all decided to swap those shifts. You would go in and click your name, and then whatever date it is, click swap. And then when you click swap, it's going to pull up a list of all credentialed providers. So you would pick the person you've arranged to do that with. And then if there's any notes you need to leave, Laura Weaver will be reviewing these. So maybe you say, hey, Laura, I've agreed with such and such provider to swap for this day. They're going to work my day. I'm going to work their day. And then you would click submit. Now, anytime you enter information into this request, it's going to go to Laura or myself for approval. So it's not automatically going to change anything in the system. And then I just added this other code, this request to work. So this was kind of the initial example I was going to go through. But let's go back to March. We're going to pick those dates in March. Maybe you're waiting to be credentialed somewhere else, or, you just have some free time. So you enter the dates that you're available, all the days. click this request to work, and you could enter in a note. So it might say, I am available to work Monday through Friday during these weeks. Okay. So you can submit that. Again, it's going to go to Laura Weaver or myself for approval, and we're going to see it, and we'll review the calendar and see if there are any open shifts. And if so, we can go back and approve you for those shifts, and then you would receive a notification back. Okay. So you're going to get a notification via email, via the mobile app. If you've entered your phone number into the system, it will also send you a text message. So it will notify you in a variety of ways. I'm going to delete this information out because this is not something that's accurate, and we don't want to see it on the schedule. So that's how you enter a request to work. Now, over to the right-hand side, you do want to pay attention to this tab. So once you click that, you can do a variety of things. The first option is your profile. So this is where you can make changes. If you needed to change the email address on your account, you could do that. If you want to add a phone number to your account, please do so. It will send you text message notifications. Some people find that helpful and some people don't. So that's up to you. And then this is where you can change your password. So you would just click that and change your password to whatever you want. You can also set your notification preferences here. So you can request that this system sends you all notifications on this top one. You can request that it sends you open shift notifications, or at the bottom, you can request push notifications, and this is going to apply to the mobile app. So you can select that, and then going to a new screen. This is where you can do some different preferences too, like you can put in your job title, your organization name, different stuff like that. Now the hot notice at the bottom, the system calls any notice where an open shift becomes available within 7 days a hot notice. So if you want to decrease that to, I only want notifications on anything that opens up in the next 3 days, or if you want to extend that to 14, that's where you can do that. So I'm going to just say what I have here, but I wanted to show you that profile update section in case there's anything you want to put in there. Now, next you have the calendar sync option. This is different than the calendar sync we've viewed before. The one we viewed before is going to put like all those notices on there, like swap request or request to work. So you'll see those if they're made public. This is where you can sync it to show where you're working and at what facility, and this can be added to your personal calendar. So it's helpful a lot of times for those of you who work at more than one facility and are sort of kind of going between site to site. But this gives you step-by-step instructions on how to do this. It does tell you that it updates and syncs every 60 minutes, so it stays pretty up to date. But if you like to have everything on your calendar, on your phone or device, I do recommend syncing the calendar so that you have that functionality here. Okay. If you do have trouble with this, you can reach out directly to the support at MyStaffSchedule.com, and they will help you. And we'll talk more about their support function, but they are very helpful and very quick to respond if you run into any issues. Okay. You will not use this create new schedule just yet. We may have a feature that rolls out called My Availability, where you can go in and put on specific days when you are available and when you're not. So we don't bother you on those days that you're not available. But for now, you do not have to pay attention to this feature. Okay. The help and FAQs goes directly to a MyStaffSchedule page. So there's some different things you can look at if you want to know more about how to do something or want to look at the frequently asked questions. There's some different articles here that you can browse through. And then back to the portal under training videos, same kind of thing with the FAQs. You have access to watch all their training videos on YouTube. So not everything is included in the training videos, but a lot of things that are more common that you would use from day to day are there. Some of them apply really more to the person that's going to be the schedule owner and doing different functions kind of in the background. But feel free to go watch those videos if you want to do that. They are very short and to the point and concise. So they're not like a long 1 hour training video that you have to watch. Okay, and then contact us. So if you run into any issues with My Staff Schedule, if it's something simple that I can help answer or that Laura Weaver can help answer, always feel free to reach out to us. If it's a technical issue that maybe you're receiving some kind of error code or your schedule won't load or something that's really system specific, you can put in a ticket with them. So you would put in that or click that contact us button, and then this screen pops up. So you would fill out the requested information here and then send them a message. Now it does say on this form, allow them 24 hours to respond, but the average response time is 2 hours. I will say that they have been very quick to respond to my requests. Usually within an hour, I've heard back from somebody with a solution to my problem. So they are quick to respond, and they really want to help and make sure we get this moving in the right direction and make sure everyone feels comfortable. So don't hesitate to put in tickets as needed for anything that may come up for you. But that is really the full system. I think for Baptist Crittenden, we may have some of the 2026 information in there. Let me just scroll through. Yeah, so it looks like some people have already taken some shifts. I see an open position there on, let me go back here on January the 5th. So you see this little bubble here. That tells us, we've got an open position here that we need a provider to take. So this is another way you could sign up for a shift. Actually, you could click that bubble. It's going to ask you for your name there. You should be the only one in the drop down. On the type, we want you to take the full shift. It does give you an option of a partial shift, but we will probably not approve that. So be sure to select full shift. If you need to leave a note here, you can do that for myself or Laura to review, and then you click sign up. Now, again, if you sign up for a shift like that, it doesn't mean you're automatically on the schedule. Somebody has to approve it first, and you'll get notification back if that's been approved or denied, either way. So that's just another way you can pick up your shifts there. You can click this open shifts button, and it'll tell you kind of what's upcoming for open shifts in the future. Or let's see, let's go back to that calendar, not calendar, schedule. And I'll show you one more thing you can do in this view. So maybe you don't want to look at everybody on the schedule and you just want to see, what you're scheduled for. You can select yourself. Again, I'm going to choose Andy here because she's on the schedule. Click her name, click set, and then click that filter button. And it's just going to condense the schedule a little bit for you to be able to see your schedule or whoever you're looking at. For those of you who might be clinical leaders, that might be helpful if you're just trying to look and make sure somebody's met their required shifts or something like that. So I'm going to go back in here and clear that filter out so it shows back for everyone. But that's how you will do that. So if you do think of questions or after you've watched through the training video and played with the system, please let me know. I'm happy to answer anything that comes up. I will say that we have Baptist Crittenden scheduled to roll out and go live on November the 10th. So I'll be sending out an email notification of that. We will be following up with those of you who have not activated your accounts yet to make sure you don't have any questions and that you are familiar with how the system works and how to use it. But this will be our system of record as it relates to provider scheduling for Baptist Crittenden starting on November the 10th, which is next Monday, so 7 days from now. Again, my contact information, if you need to email me, is blee@lifelink.com. My phone number is 901-207-2014. You can call or text that number. Another email option is just to email scheduling@lifelink.com. That goes to several people, myself included, also goes to Laura Weaver. So let us know if you have questions. We appreciate everyone's time and just listening to the training and setting up your accounts. Again, we're excited about this system and think you will be too, and look forward to getting this fully rolled out among all sites. I hope you all have a great day, and I will talk with you all soon.